bad. But as a Christian, we know where cashless society takes us. Eventually, that's to the mark of the beast. Under a new law passed in France, it is now illegal to use psychological violence in marriage. Insulting each other during arguments could now give you a criminal record in France. The law covers people shouting at their spouses, rude remarks about your partner's appearance, and false allegations of infidelity and threats of violence. Police are urged to issue a caution in the first instance, but repeat offenders uh, could face fines, restraining orders, and jail. French Premier Francois Fillon said that the creation of this offense will allow us to deal with the most insidious situations. Uh, that's the situations that leave no visible scars, but which leaves victims torn up inside. The spokesman said that the law is likely to be implemented in 6 months. In 6 months, under socialist and totalitarian governments, these types of laws can come about. The government trying to conform people conform people's behavior to the standard that they set, no matter how ridiculous. They want to control every aspect of people's lives and make you responsible to the government. Reports coming from Iraq indicate that the Iraqi government is allowing the removal of Jewish inscriptions from Ezekiel's tomb and possibly the building of a mosque on the site. The changes are being made under the guise of revamping and preserving the site. Islamic uh, political parties are said to be the ones driving for the removal of the Jewish nature of the tomb. The tomb is located at Al-Kil, a small town south of Baghdad. Ezekiel died in Babylon, having been there and being one of the Jews captured during the Babylonian captivity. He wrote the book of Ezekiel, which prophesies the return of the Jewish people to Israel. It is sad when historical artifacts and sites are desecrated in modern times. History should be preserved and not left to be destroyed by people who can't see its historical relevance. This site has been important to Jews, Christians, and Muslims, um, and all these groups have visited the site over the years. The Muslims of the past had no problem with the Jewish nature of the site. Unfortunately, that seems to have changed with some of today's Muslims. Iraq is also the location of the burial sites of the prophets Ezra, Nehemiah, Nahum, Jonah, and Daniel. Hopefully, their sites won't get the same treatment. In every given year, those who are searching for unknown creatures and animals will have hits and misses, especially when it comes to evidence of Bigfoot. A few years back, a Bigfoot researcher paid $50,000 for a frozen Bigfoot in a block of ice, only to find a fake rubber suit. Last year in October, in Minnesota, we had an image from a trail camera of what some thought was a Bigfoot, but this was an obvious hoax or prank put on the owners of the trail camera. But the TV series Destination Truth did have success in finding hair from a Yeti that that was DNA tested and found to be a primate, uh, taken from an area that has no primates. No apes or monkeys in that part of Nepal, and the DNA didn't match any known animal on their DNA database. Or they could tell it was a something like a primate, but they could not identify it, which they should have been able to do. Also, a new crab species was found off the coast of southern Taiwan. This new crab species has been dubbed the strawberry crab because of its distinctive white bumps and its red shell. Most new animal discoveries are like this. They find an existing animal that has a variation from a known species, of its type. This crab is similar to species found off of Hawaii and Polynesia, and the main difference is the white bumps on its shell. Yeah, that's why scientists they have all these species, but really there are fewer prime animals, and there's a lot of genetic variation, and and then they find something that's one of these rare variations. Researchers have allegedly found the remains of an ancient city on the seafloor under a Caribbean island. The researchers have wished to remain anonymous and have not revealed any coordinates to the site, but they have stated that it is not the site found by Russian experts in 2001 off the coast of Cuba. That site was under 2,300 feet of water. This new site is said to be in a much shallower water, and the researchers say they found it from advanced satellite imagery, and they said that they found what appears to be a tall, narrow pyramid, large platform structures, small buildings, and on them, and rubble from a fallen building. The researchers hope to document and map the site once they raise the funds for the expedition. It's interesting to note that they believe that they have found a pyramid at the site. It is also thought that the underwater city off of Cuba had a pyramid in it. I also remember a story from a diver who was on the old TV show In Search of with Leonard Nimoy, and he claimed that when he was searching in waters around that area, that he found a pyramid that he said he dived into and retrieved a crystal ball that had unusual properties. The area above the crystal seemed to repel metal. That was the first time that I had heard of pyramids underwater, and when the story of the city off Cuba broke in 2001, I wondered if this was the place that he had possibly dived to. Now it seems that there may be several underwater cities around the Caribbean and surrounding area, but I have a feeling if these cities are not Mayan or more modern, they will never be explored. The Cuba site has been known for 9 years, and so far there have been no major expeditions to document it. It seems that whenever ancient sites are found that may challenge a wide-held beliefs about history, when they pop up, they're left alone to just become a footnote in a paper and never to be explained. Recently, an ancient dwelling was found in Nazareth that dates to the time of Christ and the Second Temple. This find is very significant because it's the first time that houses in Nazareth uh, have been found. Uh, Prior to this, only a few tombs had been located and dated to this time in history. It also is exciting to think that this could be the remains of the house that Joseph and Mary, Jesus, and his brothers and sisters lived in. But there's no way to prove that. At the very least, it's a home that existed at the time that they lived there, and that the structure was found. And this structure was found when a small excavation was undertaken by archaeologists. Excavations are done in these areas when new buildings are going to be built in the area that they feel may contain artifacts. In this case, a Catholic church, the International Marian Center of Nazareth, was planning an expansion which triggered the excavation. Archaeologists found a large wall that dated to the 1400s and found that they were built over the top of walls of an ancient building, and that the house had and that those walls were built on an ancient building, which was the house, and it had 2 rooms and a courtyard. It has also had a rock-hewn cistern for collecting rainwater, and broken pottery and chalk vessels were located. Also, the chalk vessels indicate Jewish presence because only Jews used them at the time. A camouflage-hewn pit was also exposed, possibly used by Jews to hide during the revolt against the Romans, which started in 67 AD and ended in 70 AD with the destruction of the Second Temple and the dispersion of the Jews. Observation Point Rock is an outpost located in Afghanistan that has been under U.S. and NATO control since 2008, when it was taken from Taliban defenders. It stands 65 feet above the surrounding landscape and is around 1,000 feet from patrol base Hassan Abad. Marines have been guarding it over 2 months. The outpost has earned the name the Haunted Observation Point due to the frequent occurrences of unusual phenomenon. This area is littered with dead bodies of Russian soldiers from the 10-year war the Soviets had in Afghanistan in the 1980s. The rocks